Hello and welcome to Community Action. Once again, we're not in the studio, as you can see. We're practicing our social distancing and using modern technology to bring you the information. But this is a show where we take a look at nonprofits and businesses throughout Columbus County and how they help the people of Columbus County each and every day. Once again, today, my guest with us is Jennifer Holcomb, who is the president of the Columbus Chamber of Commerce and Tourism. And Jenny, we're so glad to have you with us today. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Let's just jump right into it and ask a couple of questions of you. And I want to know how our businesses are doing in Columbus County, especially in the midst of this phased reopening. How are things going?
Yeah, well, things are certainly going better than last time we spoke. There were still a lot of businesses that were shut down. Nearly everybody is back open now, and so we're very thankful for that. It's interesting. There are some businesses that have done better through this, though they wouldn't wish it on our country at all, but they were kind of set up type of businesses that can handle this. But a lot are still struggling, but it is certainly a better environment than it was 4 or 6 weeks ago when we did this last time. So we are very hopeful. I'll say this over and over again, the entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well, and the just grit that these entrepreneurs have to pivot their business, to do things differently, to still provide service and product in a completely new way is so encouraging and needs to be commended.
I have been amazed and well pleased at the creativity and ingenuity that I have seen some of these businesses exhibiting, where, like you said, that's not what their business plan was at all. Their model had to be completely redone, but they did it and they're thriving through it. There's some that are still struggling, but a lot of them have done much better than anybody had anticipated.
That's true. And we love seeing that. And I think that, regardless of the economic situation, the health situation, that's just ingrained in who they are, and that's why they make such a success of what they do. There's no business that's easy. And I think the people that truly make it are the ones that can take all the adversity and figure out a way to work through it. And we see that in this community, and it's just amazing, and I love it. And it's why I love what I do. So at nearly every ribbon cutting, I always talk about how I don't have the entrepreneurial spirit. I wish I did. Getting into, we're empty nesters, and my husband always says, "Why don't you start a business?" I think it's something ingrained in you. But that's why I love being around the people that I am, and doing what I do, because I get to be a part of them, and I get to hear them and sit around committee meetings and board meetings and just listen to how they think a little bit different. It just comes, again, a grit, a tenacity that is amazing, and I love to be around people like that. And so just shout out to all the business owners and managers and employees, because you are what makes this country great. You are what makes Columbus County survive, and we would not be in existence if it weren't for your hard work and being able to pivot in times like this. It's not the first time our entrepreneurs have had to do things differently, and it exists in the culture. And so I'm excited to run a Chamber of Commerce. This is unusual times, to say the least, but we get to see the best of why we do what we do.
Well, I know that this is in addition to the pandemic, with all of the unrest that's going on across the country. I may be a little bit prejudiced, but Columbus County is a great place to live. It's a great place to work. Our businesses, our nonprofits, whether they be Black-owned businesses, white-owned businesses, Latin-owned businesses, we are a community. And thank God we don't have some of the issues that a lot of other cities right around us are having. And I think a lot of that is due to that spirit of community that we have here in Columbus County. And I'm so grateful to see everybody working together to try to help out one another. It's not just about me and my business. I've seen business owners who are reaching out to businesses next door and across the street what can we do to help? How can we assist you? Whether it's going to benefit them or not, it's about our community coming together.
That's right. And we see that with competing businesses, which is incredible. You might see it as far as a complementary business, but I talked to Mo at Zico's, and he was, and I can't remember what it was, but there was something him and Anthony, or Tony at Anthony's, were working on together to get. You know, they compete. They have the very similar product,
right,
and they're direct competitors. But when the chips are down, they work together. Yeah. And a rising tide floats all boats. And when you started mentioning, you know, some unrest, and you know, my chest got tight. And you were one of the first people I talked to after all this kind of got a little bit closer. And thank you for being a rock, because it was tough as a chamber to watch this stuff on TV and to realize that there's a potential for that to happen to your community. My husband and I sat and watched TV late. And most people know I'm in bed by 8:30, 9 o'clock. But we were really late on that Saturday night when everything was really getting started and going. And we watched TV, and I said, what you don't understand is when I see these business owners and businesses being burnt or looted or whatever, I see people. I see individuals. Even with, you know, big corporations. When things happened, and I think it was Fayetteville, Lumberton, Walmart, I see Jeff Hughes. You know, I see my friend Tina that works at Walmart. So yeah, it's a big corporation, and they're kind of removed from the community in a lot of ways. Our friends and our family work there. Jeff is a friend of mine. He manages it. So it's very personal, and perhaps that's one of the reasons why we didn't see the violence that other communities did. Maybe because we're also personal. We always say, you know, everybody knows each other and knows each other's business. It's kind of one of the downsides of a small community. With things like this, maybe that's the plus side, because it's not just about business being, you know, sitting in an ivory tower. These are our friends and our neighbors, and we know who owns and manages most of these establishments. So maybe that was to our credit, and also leadership. I am a firm believer that everything lives and dies on leadership, and we had leaders in this community, through the faith community, through elected officials, through our Black leaders in faith and elected positions, our business leaders. They rose up and they took a position, and they led for us. And I'm proud to be a part of this community. We have our challenges, but so does every other community. And I'll take ours against most of the others any day.
Tell me how the chamber is impacting our businesses. What kind of specific programs or campaigns or things that are going on right now, especially in the midst of the difficulties that these businesses are incurring?
Yeah, so as I talked before, one of our major responses and duties when this all started hitting was disseminating correct information and helping our members to navigate through the process, whether that was some of the federal loans. And now we're still doing that to a degree. So there's new applications out from the federal government for the forgiveness portion of PPP, and we help our members to understand that process. Still putting out information on that, putting out information on different regulations, ordinances, you know, the governor's executive orders, and we'll put out that information so that you get it from a credible source. If you get it from a credible news source on Facebook, that's great, but don't get it from, you know, Sister Sally, because things get spread and they get spread wrong. So make sure that, just speaking to everybody listening, the information that you get is from a credible source. So we saw that as our primary role in the beginning, and we will continue to be that for our members. Though now, as things start to open up, we want to promote our members. We want to make sure that people understand who is open, any new hours or alternate days, or, you know, any changes to the schedules, and continuing to promote this small business support local message. I sound like a broken record because I always say, especially at a time like this, it's important, but it seems to be more and more so after both the hurricanes, Matthew, and then Florence, I was screaming from the rooftops how important it is to invest in our community by buying stuff and getting your services locally rather than going into the larger communities around us. And I'm just screaming it that much louder now. We need to help our businesses recover. And most of them have had a financial impact from this, the vast majority, some of them significant. The only way they're going to truly recover and get back to where they need to be is with the support of the community. Government does some things to help. The chamber can do things to help. Their customers are what they rely on. And so where we can spread that message and keep it in the forefront of everybody's mind is what we'll continue to do now. And then what I see in the future is us getting back to some normalcy, I hope. I look forward, had a meeting earlier today on Zoom, of course, working on our leadership program. We are preparing it now. It will launch January of 21. We're preparing it now as if it will be normal, and very hopeful that it will be. We will alter if needed as it comes up, but we want to get back to being a leader in the community in a normal way, where we rise up leaders, where we educate our community. We're also going to be doing some virtual candidates forums. I think that elected leadership is strategically important in the future of our community, and we don't take positions on candidates. I'll just put that out there, but we very much promote each and every voter to be educated, and so we're going to provide the platform for that. So we're looking forward to being a normal chamber again, but we'll be responsive to what our membership needs.
With the spike in coronavirus cases in places like Horry County and Fayetteville and even Columbus County is not going in the right direction. Do you see this possibly impacting the businesses that have kind of reopened? What if, all of a sudden we have to end up closing some things down again? What is that going to do, and how do you think that's going to impact not just the chamber, but the businesses throughout the community?
Yeah, well, the most unfortunate thing right now is the uncertainty of the future. And that's where we're all living. And that's where, our business owners are having to make decisions each and every day without a lot of good information. So there's areas around us, and in Columbus County, I don't know how much we're spiking. I think we've been on a level increase since the beginning of this. So in one way, I think we should have expected it because testing will be increased. On another, we were all hoping that this thing would just go away once the weather warmed up. And it's not showing that it is. And so I think we need to be realistic to understand that it might get worse before it gets better. The last thing we want to see is more people infected. Certainly the worst case scenario is more people succumb to this virus. And we also don't want to see our businesses close down. It has an impact not just on them, on the whole community, on our government's ability to provide services. I mean, it's just incredible what type of an impact. So we are very hopeful. It is a domino effect. And the one thing that we want to make sure, unfortunately, and I hate to even say it out loud, but everybody knows, politics kind of get into everything. And this is not a health versus business scenario. They're entwined. And so, a disastrous economy is a public health issue. And this virus is real, and we need to take precautions to protect our employees and our customers. And so I think you can have a conversation. Two things could be true at once. And so I think we can have serious conversations about how we move forward realistically and with what's coming at us that we can't foresee. And so I think our businesses are wise enough to do that. I just think about, I'll just mention Joe's Barbecue. Like, they have not gone back into their restaurant, into the building yet. Some of that is economic because they still have to do their makeshift drive-through. And so they really can't, at 50% capacity, they can't afford to do both and have two different models. But they're also very aware that further contact can, give them more of a chance of this being present within the building. And so I think that the vast majority of our business owners are taking all of this into consideration. They want to do the best thing for their customers and their employees.
There has to be a way to where we're given enough credit to have common sense to know what we can do safely, while at the same time keep our businesses open to be able to provide not just the income for the employees and the owners, but literally the tax base for the community, like you said, where our services come from. There's got to be a way to meld those two together and not have a one or the other. It has to be a both. And I think that now we know more about the virus, about how it works, and our business owners are beginning to react that way.
That's correct. And we are responsible people. I mean, there are people on the fringes of every issue.
Oh, yeah.
That you just shake your head at, right? But the vast majority of people have some common sense, and we hope that prevails. I would like to make sure everybody that's listening, if you're a member, watch those legislative updates that the chamber puts out. And if you're not a member, maybe this is one of the reasons why you would join us. I said that we don't take positions on candidates, and we don't. And very rarely do we even take positions on bills. We would love to, but we don't have the capacity. What we do, make sure that we are informing our business community of what is being discussed and what is being proposed at the state level. So once a week when the General Assembly is in session, I put out a synopsis. I receive something, and then I go through it and I pick out bills that have an impact on business. Some of them, and all I do is give the information for it. This is what is being, House bill, whatever, with a link that you can go and read it in entirety. If it is something, and the title of it will tell you something about it. And so if that is something that is on your radar, we have a duty and a responsibility to communicate with our elected officials at the federal, state, and local levels. And what I find most unfortunate is we just let things happen too often. And our elected officials will tell me over and over and over again, we don't hear from people. They have a small contingent that are very, very vocal, but they don't hear from everyone. And they need to. They need to know where the business community stands on particular issues. And so where we can get involved in just informing our businesses, where they can find information and what's being discussed. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, especially amid COVID. And all of that are in those updates. So I think it's a great resource for people. It could get boring and it can seem political. I have a lot of people that I have the greatest respect for. And when I start talking about policy, they say, we hate politics. And there's a good reason for people to say that. But policy and politics are different. And policy affects each and every one of us. And I think that our elected officials, the vast majority of them, are open to discussion and will read your email or take a phone call, especially when you get up to federal and state levels. They have processes in place to hear from you. And we have a responsibility to do that. And so I just implore our business community, most especially, because that's who I'm employed to represent and support, to be involved in that process and make sure that your thoughts on how legislation and ordinances will impact your business are being heard.
In the midst of all of the pandemic, we have had a few businesses that have actually opened up in Columbus County and begun their new journey. I think that is awesome. Can you tell us a few of who they are and how they're doing?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So it is absolutely amazing. This week we had our first ribbon cutting since early March for Atlantic Blue Coast Realty. And so this is Eric Hill. He's a local realtor. He'd been working remotely, didn't have a physical presence for some time. So he didn't start his business during COVID, but he opened up a new location in the middle of COVID. So we're super excited about that. And then, well, we've had quite a few, but I want to talk about River Branch Italian Ice and Party Parlor. And I have to say that slow. They opened up, it's an Italian ice shop that has some games and opportunities for families to come together. And they did a movie night recently, but they opened up in the middle of COVID. And they're doing well. And we are super excited about that. We have not scheduled their ribbon cutting yet. I think they were waiting to kind of things calm down. And John Langley, the owner, he came out to the ribbon cutting we had for Atlantic Blue Coast, which I was super excited. Businesses supporting one another, because each and every business is important. It's a job, they're job creators. And whether they create one job or 1,000 jobs, that job is equally important to that person. And so they're important to the community. So I was excited to see John come out to the other ribbon cutting. We'll schedule his soon. Our attendance was great. And I will tell you, I didn't know what would happen. I told Eric, I don't know if we're gonna have 3 people or 33. We had more than 33. Like, it was phenomenal. We had a great attendance, but I just don't know. These are uncertain times. The last ribbon cutting that we had before this was for American Hero downtown. So they opened up and got going and got a lot of promotion, and people were excited about a new restaurant. And then within weeks, COVID hit. And it was just, I mean, it was awful. So they're getting back. They're not at, where they want to be yet, but they're going to do okay. They survived through it, as did, 99.9% of our businesses survived through it. And there's a bunch of other, without pinpointing me to a number, I can think of, I jotted down 5 other businesses, not necessarily that have joined the chamber, that have started right here on the heels of COVID-19, which again talks to the tenacity of an entrepreneur. Alexander's is a home decor place. Just before COVID hit, probably a month before COVID hit, down south, Home Decor and Gifts opened up in Tabor City. We had her ribbon cutting scheduled for mid-March, and then COVID hit, so she decided to wait. But we'll be doing that again. And she stayed open through all of it and doing appointments with customers. That wasn't in her business plan. And when she set up that business, who could have ever imagined? But we're super excited for what's going on. So we were on a really good path right before COVID hit. I said many times, I felt as good of our job creation and business development initiatives going forward as I have. I saw more entrepreneurs realize their dreams and open up businesses in the 9 months prior to COVID than I have seen in my entire career in Columbus County. And so I was super, super hopeful. Now, COVID set us back some, but because it was global, it was national, I don't think it will put us out of the game. I think that once things are settled down, whether that is within months or whether that takes a year, we'll come back and pick up where we started. And I'm excited for that and looking forward to those opportunities to welcome new businesses into this community and help them to be successful and thrive.
Tell us what's coming up with the chamber as we wrap up our time together. What things are on the horizon for y'all?
Yeah, so I talked about the virtual candidates forums. Those are going to be fantastic events. I hope everybody, it's free to attend. You just have to register. They could look at I don't have it out there yet, but those will be in August at our Facebook or our website, or even call the chamber in July for information on those. And we'll do 4 of them. We'll do one for the U.S. House race, one for the NC Senate and NC House race together. And then we'll split up the commissioners' races because there are 4 races. with 2 candidates apiece, so 8 would be a lot. So we'll have districts 2 and 3 on one night and districts 4 and 5 on another. Then we have our golf tournament on September 18th, and we are preparing that as normal. And I am crossing my fingers, my toes, and praying that we are able to have that. We'll have our Shuck and Shag on November, I think I wrote it down. It's November 12th. November 12th, we'll have Chuck and Shag, and I'm hopeful that that will go forward. And then Leadership Columbus will launch January of 21. And I have told everybody, and I don't mind saying, that's my favorite program that the Chamber does. We want to equip our leaders with a broad range of knowledge about Columbus County. We tend to get in our silos. I'm in the business, you're in the faith-based, somebody's in education. This program exposes what's going on and shows how they connect, whether it's business and industry, education, healthcare, government, and introduces the participants of that program to the leaders of those different facets and how we all work together. And really, I wish it was a requirement for every elected official, because it gives you a broad understanding of the entire community. And again, we live in our silos, and that's natural. But it's the best program. There is a fee to attend, but it is very, very reasonable, and it is phenomenal. So that's what we have going on the horizon. I hope we have lots of ribbon cuttings coming up, and I hope everybody will come support the businesses here.
Tell us real quick how they can contact you about information on the Chamber, how to join, things like that. Give us your address and phone number.
Yeah, so we're located downtown Whiteville, right by Van Underwood. And so we're at 601 South Madison Street. And our Facebook page is very active, so you can find us there, the Columbus Chamber. And then our website is the Columbus Chamber. It's THE, columbuschamber.com. Our phone number is 910-642-3171. We're happy to talk to anyone and everyone, and we hope that you will keep it Columbus.
Well, Jenny, thanks so much for being with us today and helping us to get more information about our businesses and about how the Chamber is working so well to represent them and to keep them informed. We appreciate all that you do for Columbus County and for our businesses, as well as our nonprofits, as we work together to better the lives of the people here in Columbus County each and every day. And thank you all for joining us. And we hope that you'll join us again next time as we get together and take a look at another business here in Columbus County and find out what's going on to make your lives better as we go through the day. God bless you and have a great day.
Bye-bye.